Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in, baby. This is an open discussion tonight. The only thing I'm asking is that we please be respectful of each other. I know that there are a lot of opinions. I know there are a lot of thoughts. Hey Rose. Hey Lady Thompson. Hey Brenda. Okay, I don't really care who you support. Now, I do want to play something for y'all though that I thought was wild today. Y'all ready for this?
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of
This is a clip from the National Association of Black Journalists, is what we are listening to. Y'all, this was, I don't know how many of y'all got to watch this. Wow.
people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys.
Now, I just want y'all to be clear that these are direct quotes, okay? Oh, and I was very, the comments underneath here are like really interesting too. They're super interesting. But let's continue on.
Attack black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say.
Yo, he is coming in hot off the rip. Hey, Rhea, thank you for the heart me.
Hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke, and I saved them and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something.
Mr. President, I would love if you could answer the question on your rhetoric and why you
I have answered the question.
Trust you with another
I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act.
For you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here. I want to start by addressing.
Okay, that's just a short clip. There are lots of clips from from this session with the National Association of Black Journalists. Okay, Precious, you said you're here for it. All right, so y'all said child. I look. Look, it was a busy day.
The elephant.
it was a busy day out here in these streets, okay? To say the least. So I do want to know, how do y'all feel about him? You said neither one. So okay, if you have an opinion, you can come up and talk about it. But I am very interested in how you guys feel about that specifically, right? Because a lot of people have been making this argument of do y'all remember when Joe Biden went on the Breakfast Club and he said that if you don't vote for me, you're not black? And a lot of people were taken aback by that, right? And I was one of them. I think that this is very interesting for Donald Trump to make this statement that he's, been the best president for black people since Abraham Lincoln. That was wild. Hey, Rob, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right this evening.
That's good.
Okay, so give me your opinion on these president-elects, or the nominees, the presidential nominees.
At one point I would have said Trump, but it seems like he's kind of doing more stuff that he feel is okay that's not necessarily helping nobody. And then it's like with Kamala, it seems like she's just using the whole black woman to her advantage type thing, because it's like all this time she ain't never really tried to do nothing for black women nor the black community, but trying to make it seem like as if she is just to get them votes. So I would just say neither one.
So are you planning on not voting, like sitting out this election?
I wish it was like a better alternative to it than just them two.
I mean, but it's looking like these are the two we have. So between those two, who do you feel is better qualified?
I want to say neither, because I mean, he was a president at one point in time, but it's kind of like a gray area, because like I feel like even when you becoming a president, if you've never been a president, it's like, how would you be good at something you never did? Then it's like, if you do it, you got somewhat experience, but depending on how that went, you probably may necessarily not be good at it still. And then it's like, on top of that, it's like all these little accusations, and then him being a criminal. It's almost like, so you could be known as a felon, and then you still can be known as, going running for president. But then it's like, why is it that the other felons can't even vote? Makes no sense then. So it's like, some got to change if that's the case.
I agree with you. Something does have to change in the system, because I've wondered the same thing. I think this is the first time we've ever had this experience in the United States where there's been a convicted felon that is actually running for the office, right? The head of office is for the United States.
It's like, what has she really did? I mean, are you just voting for her because of how she looks?
I don't think a lot of people are voting for her because of how she looks. And I guess I guess my question to you and to everyone else, so that has that opinion of what has Kamala done for black women, what has any politician honestly ever done specifically for black women to that extent? Now we could talk because there are policies. I know, but you specifically brought up black women. You did bring up black women. So that's why I'm focused on that, because that's something that you brought up. And so realistically, there are things that she actually has done, because I've had to do a lot of research because I didn't know a lot about Kamala Harris at all. She was not my, she was not my pick. She was not who I was voting for, to be honest. Back in, was it 2020? Like I wasn't on the Biden ticket either. I was a Bernie Sanders supporter. So I honestly do not know. Well, I know more about her now, but initially I did not know a lot about her. I had to actually go and look up and do my research, because I kept being confronted with Trump supporters that were like, do your research, that were saying things. And I was like, well, she actually has done quite a lot for black men and black women. But the thing that just, when people give me that talking point, was like, okay, well, specifically, then what did Donald Trump do for black women? You know what I'm saying? What has Donald Trump specifically done for black men? Because from what I understand, whoever the president is that we elect of this country is president for everybody, right? Like they're president for the American people as a whole.
It's true. It's true. I definitely had to do a lot of research regarding Kamala. Again, I was with Bernie as well, so I'm a liberal. It's whoever is best for the country. So my thing was, me personally, I don't prefer either one of them, but if we have to choose, I would definitely choose Kamala because it's the lesser of two evils. It's the lesser of two evils. You have to see the agenda of Trump versus the agenda of Kamala, and you have to make your choice. And, like I told, my family or whomever, if you don't make a choice, then don't complain about the choice when it happens. So.
That's true. Well, he didn't say that he wasn't going to vote. He just sounds like he still seems undecided, like he's weighing both of the options. Or am I incorrect in that, Rob?
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good thing.
It's a lot because he said initially he was a Trump supporter, but as things have started to happen over the past few weeks and few months, now it's like, okay, well, where are we really standing with this?
Hello, beautiful people. I just have one question. Hi, how are you? So do you guys actually feel as a female running the country that would be good for us or bad?
I think it boils down to the capable person, but there are about 13 other countries right now that have female leadership. So I'm one of those people. I'm not necessarily looking at gender more so than who is better for the country and better for the overall people. And so from my standpoint, when I'm looking at women who have been in roles that maybe are traditionally roles that go to men, there are some things where those particular women may do better. And then there are sometimes, right, that different men are going to do better. Leadership to me is more based on the person, their characteristics, initiative, how they're able to energize people, how they're able to negotiate and get deals done more so than gender based. So when I look at leadership, I don't necessarily say, well, this is a woman and I automatically discount her, or this is a man, so I automatically assume he's better.
See, I look at it all because me personally, I feel if Michelle Obama ran, she would be a great president because you have your former husband to back you up and you're not just going off of nonsense that the other presidents are going through. I would vote for Trump only on one reason, and it's not trying to be racist or anything. I really feel like we need to get all these immigrants out because where I live, it's overrun by immigrants. You're giving them our jobs and we're trying to work. We literally have to fight for stuff now because you're letting all these immigrants in here. I can't go to their country and get everything that they're getting here.
So when we say immigrants, are you talking about illegal and legal immigrants? I just want to clarify because you were like, get all of the immigrants out.
Illegal. You have all, okay, so I live in New York.
Okay.
And I live in upstate New York. And it's overrun by these illegal immigrants. We have, I worked at a casino, right? Okay. And they had all these illegals as temps. But in a casino, you have to have, American license, all that stuff. But you're still giving them these jobs and you're finding ways around it, but you're taking money from actual people that are trying to work there and are legal in the United States. Then we're giving them cash assistance, food stamps, all that. I can't go to your country not being legal in your country and get the same exact thing. So that's why I feel like with the illegal ones, that's the only reason why I would vote for Trump if he did something about that. Other than that, I wouldn't vote for him at all.
So you feel that he's tougher on immigration than Kamala Harris is? I just want to make sure that I'm clear.
Yes. 100%.
So what makes you feel that way?
Because before, remember when he was like, oh, we should build a wall? Okay, you're going to build a wall, but you're going to separate people. But there's people that are legal here and that come here and do what they have to do to become legal. But then you have all these illegal immigrants here that are killing people, breaking in people's houses in the city, stuff like that. But it's like they're less harsher on the immigrants because of where they
Hold on. Shanice, can you disconnect your audio or drop down and come back? You got an echo. Go ahead, Monique.
How do I do that?
You didn't do it. It's picking up a feedback from Shanice. That's what Shanice, I'm gonna drop you down and then you can come back up. Like literally disconnect your audio and connect it back and come back. Go ahead, Monique. Sorry about that.
But that's how I feel from where I live at and what I see on a day-to-day basis. Kamala Harris might be good for us. She really might be. But I don't know because you're only the vice president. You've done certain things, but to me, you could do more. Not just for Black people, because it's not just Black people that live here. It's everybody.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. No, it still has an echo a lot. I heard it when I kept talking. Are you connected to a Bluetooth?
That happens sometimes too when you have more than one app open.
Okay. You may have to exit out of TikTok, Shanice, and then just pop back in and see if that fixes it.
Okay, I will do.
Okay. Go ahead, Monique. I'm sorry about that.
No, but like I was saying, like I would love for her to be president if she could, but you're only the vice president, and to me, I don't really see what you have done from being a vice president and the first female vice president.
So do you know the record of any of the other vice presidents? Just wondering. And I went and researched. She actually has done quite a lot since she's been vice president. But because I kept hearing people with that talking point, and then I really thought about it, I was like, no one was like asking like Mike Pence what he did as vice president, or no one is. I've never really heard anyone ask any of the vice presidents what they've done. But I actually did have to go research to pull a list because, again, I didn't know. Somebody asked. I was like, well, what has she been doing since she's been vice president? So I went and looked it up.
I haven't went as far as that, but like I read a lot. I talk to people. I let them explain their point of view. I see both sides. To me, I don't feel like you've done enough at all. And if you are the vice president, of course, you don't have as much pull as the president, but you're still the vice president. You're the first female vice president. And I think she just should have came out swinging. Like, let's get this right and do what we have to do. Only thing I really have seen her do is with abortions in like southern states and stuff.
So this is just a fun fact though, because you're concerned about immigration, like the immigration levels, the numbers of the illegal immigration crossings have actually dropped to their lowest levels since she's been in office, and that's been her job, is to work with the border and to work with Mexico. And a lot of people don't know that, and that's actually documented, and you guys can go and look that up. So that's why I think it's very interesting when people bring up immigration, because Donald Trump did not really actually sign any immigration laws into place when he was in office. He did do some orders and some directives, but as far as getting down to business, she actually did take on the task quite seriously and has been successful in reducing the numbers of illegal immigrants coming into the country. And also she was able to convince Mexico to pay for a portion of that wall as well.
That is correct. That's correct.
So that's great to know. I'm not trying to be funny, but that's great to
No,
know.
I don't think you're trying to be funny. Like I try and host this platform so everybody can speak, you know what I mean, and share their thoughts and their opinions, because like this is literally how we learn. Because I'm like you, when I like the same way, I did not know a lot about Kamala and what she had been doing or what she had not done. So I really had to go and look it up, because I'm like, okay, this is now a woman who is the nominee for president of the United States over a major party. And I'm like, and this is what we got. I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't sit here and say, well, I wish Michelle was running, or I wish, you know what I mean, they would vote in whoever else. The reality of the situation is the choice we have is in between her and Donald Trump. So I was like, I got to get to researching so I can learn who this woman is, what her policies really are. Because like you, I knew about the women's rights. I knew that there was a big issue for her, but outside of that, I really had no idea up until, up until a couple months ago. And then really a few weeks ago, I really have started digging because I wanted to know more about her. I know a lot more about Donald Trump just because, one, I'm a business owner and Donald Trump is a prominent figure. And I've seen Donald Trump on television pretty much my whole life, right? I'm a millennial. So therefore I'm just more familiar with him. You know what I mean? He had more celebrity than Kamala, if that makes sense. So there was just more things that I knew. And then Donald Trump was also the president of the United States, and y'all know he was in the news every single day. So there was like literally no way to not learn about him and know more about him.
Okay, so I feel like if we vote Trump, it's just going to be like a Comedy Central kind of vibe. It's going to be like a comical, like it's not going to be something that's, serious. I think that he's not trustworthy. He's not trustworthy or reliable at all. I feel like even though he says he's pro-Black, he's not pro-Black. With Kamala Harris, I feel like she doesn't know too much about, I don't think she knows too much about Democrats or, Congress or anything like that, politics. But I could say that she's a God thumper. Like, she knows God. That's the only reason why I would vote for her, because she knows who God is. But as far as I don't think she's a good candidate for politics. I don't.
But you know what? A lot of people knew who God was, knows who God is, and look what they still do.
Correct.
Everybody that be pressing the God issue is not always what they see. And I learned that a long time ago.
Yeah, but when she speaks, especially when she speaks, like when she has her speeches and she has her little moments, you can hear how she speaks. She speaks on a deeper level. She doesn't just speak just to speak.
I understand that I have a great reverence for God. Okay, I love the Lord, but just because you love the Lord doesn't mean that you're a candidate, a good candidate to be leader of the country. So when we look at that, right, because there's a lot of people that love the Lord, but they can lead you out of a paper bag, you know what I'm saying? Much less being the president of the company. When we look at that and it boils down to her policies, because I know you said you feel that Donald Trump is untrustworthy. Do you feel that she's going to be capable in that area?
I do feel like she's reliable. I just don't think that she would know anything about having just like Donald Trump when he messed up all our allies. I don't think she knows much about that in that area.
So you feel like she's lacking in foreign policy?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my opinion, though.
No, I mean that's a fair opinion. So she did sit on a is it the Foreign Intel Committee? She actually sat on that when she was in the Senate. Now, I'll be honest, outside of knowing that she sat on the committee, I don't know a lot about the duties and what that committee accomplished in the time that she sat there. But I do know that that gives her a bit of leeway into foreign policy. Now, I do know for a fact she is very involved with foreign policy when it comes to the border, right? And she was able to convince this company out of Japan to build a factory for work down in Guatemala. And then she was able to convince other companies to put together enough money to pull, I think it's over $100 million in funds. And then $5 billion in private and public funds, right? So that they could literally create jobs for the people there. And that's how she's been able to get the illegal immigration down as low as she has. So that is an example of foreign policy, but I feel like you're geared more towards foreign policy when we look at countries, maybe as far as allies and war and things like that. And I'll be honest, I do not know a lot about her record whenever we get to, when we get into that territory.
That's about it, but I do think that she'll be a better candidate. I just think Donald Trump is not as serious as he should be. I think it's just all of a power drill, or a power trip for him. I don't think he really wants to do it just because he has a passion for it. It's just a power trip for him. He gets to have that power. Really, honestly, between Biden at this, because I used to vote, but I just don't see the purpose in it. I really don't. But at this point, why not give a chance? There's something called The Future is Woman. And I think that this would be a good little experience, you know. Just, you know, all you gotta really do is pray and hope that she knows what she's doing. And personally, me, I'm just here for the ride.
You just here for the ride. You just throwing your hands up, saying, hey, it is what it is. For everybody in here, if you're not registered to vote, please register to vote. You also can go online and you can check to see if you're registered to vote. And if I'm not mistaken, if you have not voted in your last 2 local elections, you need to go and update that so that you are registered to vote. And I also would encourage everyone in here to early vote so that you don't have to be in line for hours and hours and hours and hours online. Hey, Ms. Long, I know you haven't had a formal introduction. This is what we're going to do so we can have open discussion, because I prefer more of a conversation than kind of like these little filibusters. Ms. Long, can you give me your initial thoughts? And then The Truth 8450, give me your initial thoughts. And then is it Elle and Honey, the cat? You give me your initial thoughts, and then we can just go into open conversation.
Well, as far as with Camilla, I've researched a lot of the things that she's done. A lot of people, they bring up, they feel as if because she's the vice president, she really doesn't do anything. However, the vice president has more movement than the president. The president's steps are ordered by the government. So that's number one. With Trump, there's just a lot of things that he stands for. When he initiated and stated that he wanted to turn the United States into a dictatorship where the police actually comes to him instead of having to answer to the state or anything like that, that's something that I'm completely against. Because I think that, especially because all of the things that are happening in the United States as far as police brutality and things like that, the senseless killings and things like that, they should have to answer to somebody. When they just lay down and go and kill someone, that shouldn't be acceptable. So I am definitely not for Trump. I was at one point, don't get me wrong, I was, because he is very, very brilliant at some things that he does as far as like tax evasion, and that's completely what it is, tax evasion, and things like that. With him being a convicted felon, I can't say anything because if we allowed that to happen, you understand what I'm saying? We allowed for him to come back into office, even though he was a convicted felon, the people still wanted him there. So there's nothing that we can really do about that, unless you do voice your opinion through your votes. But I do also feel that if they allow him to go into presidency, and under the fact that he is, 39 convicted felon?
34, I think. I think it's 34.
Okay, so if he is allowed to go into office with that, then a whole lot of rules in the United States have to change. It has to change. So like I said, it is the lesser of two evils. Camilla has done a lot, but Trump he's done a lot in the past, not towards presidency, but more towards economical advancement. So, as far as financial investment and things like that, he teaches a lot. And I'm not going to say he's definitely not for our people, but and he's also a sexist and a lot of other things. But, it boils down to me, it's the lesser of two evils. Camilla, she has a past, but like I see, everybody has a past. Everybody has a past, but it's not a present thing. And that's the only thing that I hold against Trump, because it is present. This recently happened. And that's just my opinion on that right there.
Awesome sauce. Hey, The Truth 8450.
Hey, how you doing? How is everybody on the panel?
Fantastic. Thank you for asking. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. Just logging off work and was kind of chiming into the conversation. I just wanted to give my 2 cents.
Please do.
Well, I'm African American. I come from poverty. I'm 49 years old, and I most certainly will not be voting Democrat under no circumstances. I will not. There's not a chance that I will be voting Democrat. I've always been under Democratic leadership my entire life. And the impact that it has had on my life, my family's life, my community, after being under their leadership, now that I'm older, I can see a little bit more clear, and I can see the slickness. I can see the conning. You know, I don't like how when we go to city council hearings, I don't like how they speak to us. I don't like how they interact with us. I just don't like it. You know, they can say anything they want to say about Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
But when you got thousands and thousands and thousands of people losing their lives in the streets, I don't care nothing about no 37 felonies. I don't care about none of that. I'm talking about all these lives that has been lost in the streets. And under Democratic leadership, they are not responding to it. They are not addressing it. They got all of this brilliance when it comes down to foreign things that are foreign. Oh yeah, they got it all together. But when it comes down to, I'm God-fearing. And if you can't run your own house, how can you run anything else? I've seen Kamala Harris perform same-sex marriages. You know, I don't see where God ties into that. So I really don't see the God in her. And the fact that, you know, when Donald Trump came to Chicago today, it was like he stepped into a lion's den. And when I saw how Kamala Harris, last night, she was in Atlanta with that one young girl, it's just not my cup of tea.
Megan Thee
These
Stallion.
were professional women. I'm sorry.
I said Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah, her.
Okay.
It's just not my cup of tea. These were young women, African-American women. And if you so much about girl power and if you are so pro-Black, why didn't you show up at this event today when it was all Blacks there, professionals there? Everybody Black is not looking for Megan Thee Stallion. Everybody Black is not looking to twerk. So she sent out the wrong message there. That just goes to show you where her head is. I'm just not going Democrat no more. I cannot. I cast my last Democratic vote last year. I'm not doing it. It impacted my life too much. All of the trauma, all of the senseless violence, all of the homelessness that's going on in these communities in these Democratic ran cities. Why on earth will I continue to vote for a Democrat?
All right. Thank you. Hey, Elle and Honey the cat.
Hey,
How are you?
good. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you for asking.
Good. So I'm 30, also African American. I don't have a whole lot to say, but I will say for me, I'm also a Christian, like the Truth 84, but I'm not voting for Donald Trump. Personally, how I feel about that is he said that he's not Christian before. Neither of these candidates really are Christian. Neither of them are God-fearing, and neither of them, to me, have policies that are going to support Christians and going to be for Christians. I'm really looking at the nature and the character of a person. Donald Trump is somebody who said, you know, after Sonia Massey got killed, he's saying, okay, we're going to give the police immunity because they need to be able to do their job. That was his response to it. And it's like, okay, people can ignore that, but it's like, don't say nothing when it's your mother, your father, your sister, your brother. You know, this is the same man who, in his name, you know, they committed a terrorist attack on the Capitol, stormed the Capitol. We all know what would have happened if there was Black people there. So he's encouraging this like white power, you know, this very racist rhetoric that's going on. He's causing, I feel like, the environment to not have a lot of peace. He's a felon. And so they're letting him run, you know, as a felon. They're trying to make him immune from prosecution. And it's just unfortunate because, you know, the Democrats have been using Black people for a really long time. But for me, that's just not what this election is about. It's kind of like picking the lesser of two evils. You know, what do you say about this man? He's committed all these crimes. And they're still going to let him run as a president. So just looking at the character of the man, yes, he's brilliant. You know, he knows a lot and he's knowledgeable, but he just don't seem like a good person to have in office. And in regard to like Megan being there for Kamala Harris, I really don't think that has nothing to do with like the way we're thinking about it. I really believe that her connection to the Carters got her to perform at that rally. I don't think it would have been anybody else but her. And we also cannot ignore the fact that Donald Trump had a stripper who stands also against God with like women's rights.
I was gonna bring that up after initial thoughts, but yeah.
And also Quavo, who is a rapper. Like, I love Quavo, but he raps about being in gangs and being a murderer. So, you know, Trump had the right crowd. He had criminals and strippers. Those are the exact type of people that he runs with. Those are things that are also against God. So really, this election is not about being Christian. It's not about being Black. People want to throw out there, oh, Kamala Harris ain't Black enough. She this and that. That's what they want us to do. They want us to be stuck fighting with each other instead of paying attention. So that's just my opinion on it.
Nobody's saying, a lot of people are saying.
Hold on, Monique. We gotta let Everything Retro get her initial thoughts in, and then we can have open panel, girl. Hey, Everything Retro, how you doing?
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you. So I don't really have much to say. My thoughts kind of are like Ellen Honey's. I kind of came in as everyone was speaking. But this is like a household battle in my house. And it's become a thing where I'm starting to ask my girlfriends, like, girl, what is your man saying about this? And like, I want to know, right? Because as Black women, like, we're just, you know, like, oh, Kamala, whatever your party is. I know Black women who vote Republican hands down and are like, I'm an AKA, I'm in group. Like, that's what we're doing, right? This is beautiful for our daughters to see. This is beautiful in so many different aspects to see a woman of color running to be the president. So I had to get out of that bag, right? Like, I had to get out of the hype myself and say, okay, well, what has she done? And then what has Trump done? And when I look at it from different aspects, I look at things differently. You know, I look at it from a business aspect. I look at it from, you know, just being, you know, a working Black woman in America. Like, if I had to literally do this all by myself, could I? Of course I could. I'm a hustler, but do I want to? No. And, you know, just looking at what he did while he was actually the president, right? And what he probably could have finished, and maybe the economy would be better. So I look at all those different things, and I look at Christianity, and like Ellen Honey stated, neither one of them, like, that's not even an argument out here. I mean, we're talking about a felon who not only has Amber Rose backing him, like, you know, all the time, but he's done some questionable things in life, you know, and those things have been kind of, to me, swept under the rug because of who he is. I mean, we can go back to Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. Like, where is she today? You know, what's going on with that? They still allowed him to run to be the president as well. So when we get into personal beliefs and different things like that, that's why this conversation, I don't think up until now has been a very public conversation. But you really have to ask yourself, do you want someone, well, I have to ask myself, do I want someone in power who is saying to the Christians, that first of all, he's not a Christian, and second of all, in 4 years, and this probably did me in with Trump, because I don't think, if I wanted to live somewhere where there was a king and a queen, I'd just move. Like, it's that simple. I'd relocate, I'd, you know, change my lifestyle. Do we really want someone in office who is saying, you won't have to worry about this in the next 4 years? Because the question that I have for everyone who's on the fence is, be serious about that, okay? We can joke about Project 2025. We can joke about many things. But if you do have children, and even if you don't, you really have to be strategic as human beings first, and who we put in office. Because guess what? Kamala may not do anything. She may be trash can, punch, for all of that. She just might just be that bad. But she's not challenging a system that's been in place for a while, as far as saying, you know what, in 4 years, if we don't like it in 4 years, we'll just get rid of her. You know what I'm saying? But with him, no, he can't make these decisions on his own. He's gonna have to go through whatever it is he needs to go through. But in 2 years, if you have to think about it, if someone is not getting the response, I feel that he's wanting, right? He's thinking in his mind, I'm gonna get in here, I'm gonna change all of this. This is my world now. I'm gonna make it to where I don't have to go anywhere. Once you realize that that's not gonna happen, you have to ask yourself, do I want to live the next 4 years of my life, being able to get by, or do I want to live in complete pure chaos and hell? And I think he gives the second option. I just do. I think he's given Hitler a little bit. You don't know how someone is going to truly act until you give them power. And
y'all tap the screen, shut alive. Tap the screen and hit me with those little 1 cent votes. TikTok doesn't like talking about the H-man. Go ahead.
Okay. But my bad. But do you want to give him that much power? That's equivalent to, and I use a personal experience, I would never give a man any type of power over me anymore, to say that I won't make my own money and I won't be able to do things for myself, because life has taught me that at some point I would like to be in control of my own destiny. So with him, he kind of gives that narcissist, I just I don't know if that's what I would vote for. I don't know that I'd be okay with that. I don't know that my 14-year-old son in the next 4 years, who will be 18, I don't know if some of the things he's throwing out there for our children, I don't know if those things align with my lifestyle outside of who's on the podium and who's coming out to the rallies and what their beliefs are. I just don't know if we're not listening to him enough when he says the things that then they get overshadowed by, he's a shell-in, or he's this, or he's just a clown. So, you've got to really pull out the meat and really chew it and spit out the bone and really listen, because that, I'm not really into politics, but I keep hearing that. He hasn't said it just once, so you got to really listen, I think, to be able to decipher, the fate of your life, your kids' life, your peers, just anybody that you care about, That's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you for your opening thoughts, Miss Linda.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you perfectly fine. How you doing this evening?
This is my thought. If you look over the years, us up under the Democrat administration, they have failed us. In each city or each state that the Democrats covered, we have had more violence, more children to be killed than any political city, town, or whatever in America. You got crime in Chicago like nothing before. You got crime in St. Louis like nothing before. You got crime even in the small Democratic cities like nothing before. It's a mess up under these Democrats, and I will not vote again for a Democrat to save my own life. It's horrible. And you hear nothing from them. She's so busy on a campaign trail, she have not one time focused on this Sonia Massey murder. I'm just not.
Y'all
for
tap
it
the
no
screen,
more.
tap the screen.
I'm just not for it no more. You know what I'm saying?
She actually has what the Sonia Massey. I'm sorry, I had to intervene on that.
She has. After everybody had opened
out
out.
the family personally herself.
She reached out to the family, but yesterday there was a rally with a lot of different peers there. She could have took her time out and appeared at that rally. I'm just not for what the Democrats have done to us here in the city that I live in. We voted in America. That it's been so much, and we
so how do you feel about Donald Trump and his commentary about Sonia Massey?
I don't feel no way about none of them. Right now, my faith is in God, and I'm asking God to I'm just asking him to redeem us as a whole.
I just think that's interesting that you are holding her to a specific level or to a specific standard, but you're not holding both of the candidates when it comes to that same level. That's just very interesting, and I don't care if you vote Democratic or Republican, but I just find that very interesting.
Hold on, let me say this. The only reason I'm holding her to a different standard because he's trying to get back in office. She's in office.
Can I just say that the president actually put out a statement in regard to Sonia Massey? He is the president. And Donald Trump's, he put out a statement saying like she should be alive today and all this. But Donald Trump's response to that was that he should give the police immunity so they can actually do their jobs. So I'm just trying to figure out how we coming at Kamala for no reason.
That was a little far-fetched on my behalf too for him to say.
I don't get it.
I want to stop both of you because I did catch a clip actually just before I jumped on here. And what I will say about Trump is this. Trump was not, when he was on the panel, wherever he was at, because I was just scrolling after my work day. But the panel that's trending today with the young black ladies up there.
You're talking about the Black Journalists Association.
Chicago, correct. So today, what he stated regarding Sonia Massey was, because that question was posed, and I did see the full response. So he stated that he saw something about the story. He asked, with in his voice, in his tone, his slow self, about the hot pot of water. And he said, yes, I did see something about that. He said, in that case, maybe not so, he's not familiar with the case. Okay, that wasn't the greatest answer. He said in that case, and then he said, but regarding his statement about police giving them the power back and immunity, he was regarding Chicago on July 4th, where I think 120 something people were either I don't know what exactly he said, to be honest.
I remember, I saw that part. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And he said that in that aspect, it was a large number of people who were being affected in a city on one particular day. And he felt like maybe because the police didn't have certain power anymore, that people were running rapid, right? So in that aspect, I can relate because I live in Houston, Texas, and it's insane that we just went through a hurricane and the police felt like they weren't coming out to do anything, and people were out here cutting up. I mean, putting fentanyl in water bottles. So I do, and my mother is a police officer, so been for 33 years. So I do want something in place to where she can be safe, but he did not negate the fact that case by case scenarios of Sonia Massey, he stated that most likely probably wasn't a good thing. So I do have to give him credit where it's due on speaking on that. Because he did say that.
But my thing of it is, I'm not, again, must I say, it's not a...
Hey, Ms. Shekinah, what are your initial thoughts?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want to respond. I have two different responses. I'm reading on Forbes.com, and anybody can go on there and read. It says a third way report found that between 2000 and 2020, Trump voting states had 12% higher murder rates than did Biden voting states.
Correct.
In the past, Republicans have made crime a major campaign, but what they don't talk about is that most of the crime that happens in red states more than in blue states. If you want to talk about poverty
and lower education as well inside of red states,
low education, entitlements, social safety nets, red states who vote against their own self-interest have more need. And I know I live in West Virginia. They poor as hell out here. Okay.
I live in Arkansas.
But they continue to vote for red because they don't want the NIGGERs to share in their social safety nets. But statistics show that red states have the greatest poverty, more poverty than blue states. But when you hear them talk about poverty and violence, they only put it on blue states. The second thing I want to say is, did we forget about the fact that he literally assaulted a 13-year-old girl. If you go, you can go on TikTok, you can go anywhere and look. He literally, and I know, he R-word a 13-year-old girl.
Was he ever charged?
That was his. Yes, he was.
He was.
He was charged. And the charges got dropped because him and Jeffrey Epstein has connections with the court and the government.
Yep.
This dude is a pedophile. And
y'all tap the screen, tap screen, tap screen, tap screen, tap screen. Send me once and gives. Say PDF, say P3DO. Do not say that word. TikTok doesn't like that word.
This dude violates children.
Yes.
He violates children. And if you listen to the 13-year-old girl who he violated when she was 13, he told her, "I like you because you remind me of my daughter."
Absolutely.
This is the man that you sitting here stumping for this dude. What about your daughters? Or are you one of the ones that would let somebody do anything to your children? Because that's the only people that want to vote him in. You look at.
May I please intervene? May I please
intervene? I'm not done. You look at Matt Gaetz, another dude that's in the courts for doing the exact same thing. The only people that are stumping for these people are people who like to violate children. And I am a pediatric chaplain. I have heard the stories. I have sat and talked to these children. These children are they hunt these children. And you're sitting here, and I don't care about anything that whatever Kamala do and all that other stuff. Y'all sitting here stumping for somebody that violates children, and they're trying to make laws. Do you understand that there's a woman in Texas? They just put her over the health department in Texas, and she believes that 9-year-olds are capable of having babies.
And Dr. Candace Matthews is definitely working against CPS here in Houston because those same red states, they are definitely trafficking children. So
I appreciate it. Hold on, we got to let everybody get their initial thoughts in.
This the last thing. Because when it comes to children and hunting and when it comes to children, I don't play that because I have seen the hurt. I have experienced it myself. I am a survivor of childhood trauma. So when it comes to kids, when I lived in North Carolina, when they had that Republican governor, I can't remember his name, but they shamed him on the corner, and that was a great sight to see. When he shut down the mental facilities in North Carolina, all those children that were in mental facilities came to my hospital, Wake Med Hospital, and they had to build a psych ward for children. And most of them children were hunted and assaulted by men. They were passed along. They would pass these little girls along and trick them into thinking that, you're too mature for boys your age. I've heard the stories. So y'all sitting there stumping for this disgusting dude that assaulted a 13-year-old because she looked like his daughter. She reminded him of his daughter. How dare you? I'm done. I'm sorry.
Thank you for your. It's okay.
It's
okay. No, you didn't. It's initial thoughts. I want everybody to get what they need out so we can get into open conversation. Hey, Miss Queen Wimbo, what you got on it?
Hey, okay. I keep hearing everyone says the Democrats and our Democratic states. When are we gonna hold these parents responsible for what their kids are doing in these streets?
Yes.
When are we going to say why?
Oh, wait. Hold on. Somebody has an echo.
When are we going to hold these parents responsible for what their children are doing in these streets? There's no way that my child is in the street having weapons and I don't know about it. It's somebody's child that is ruining your area. So why won't you hold those parents accountable instead of the politicians? What they supposed to do? Come whip the kid?
Oh,
That is his mother's responsibility. That is his parents' responsibility to make sure their kids are not running around town terrorizing people's streets. I'm a teacher. And just like y'all try to make sure, excuse me, ma'am, I did not interrupt you, and I appreciate you don't interrupt me. Thank you. So I'm a teacher. Y'all do the same thing to teachers. Y'all want us to raise the children and do the parents' job. Now you want the politicians to do the parents' job? Y'all are confusing me. Like, I am confused. What is the parents' responsibility nowadays? What is a parent supposed to do? Just have the baby and let it just grow up like a wild weed? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, when Queen Wimbo, I think you got an echo. So either are you on Bluetooth right now? You may have to like disconnect your Bluetooth or your earpods if you have those in, and see if it fixes the echo.
Did that fix it? I think it's because the truth is muted.
No, it shouldn't be, because she was up here earlier, and when she was unmuting, I don't think we had an echo. Hold on. The truth unmute, and let's see if you have echo.
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
I heard it while I was muted.
Yeah, it's not the truth. It's you, Queen Wimbo. If you're on Bluetooth, disconnect, or you may need to drop down and then come back. Leave, like, exit out of actual TikTok app, and then when you request, I'll bring you right back up. Go ahead. We're open. Everybody has their initial thoughts, so we now can move into open conversation. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am. We're open panel now.
Okay, so Miss Monique said about the children, and why would you let the politicians raise your children? It's not that. My son, I can tell you this, was out of control. There's limited things that parents can do now, because you pop your child, CPS is at your house. You whoop your child, you getting arrested, all types of stuff like that. What needs to happen is that we need to have the parents be in control of the children, not let nobody else raise our children. Yes, there's a lot of bad behind kids out here getting hold of guns, all type of stupid stuff. But as soon as you try to chastise your child, who is at your door? Police, CPS. Nobody want to deal with that, because I'm trying to teach my kid right from wrong. I don't need CPS telling me, oh, you can't hit your kid, or the police telling me, oh, you can't beat them. Why not? Why I can't put my hands on my kids because he want to be out there acting stupid? Now that he's a little bit older, I know I have 3 children. I know all 3 of my children's moves. They're not going to tell me what I can do. They don't feed them. They don't clothe them. They don't pay this mortgage. They don't do none of that. I do. So what I say goes on in my house, that's what I expect. I don't expect a teacher to raise my kid. I expect a teacher to teach my kid. Teach them what they need to know to go further in life. I literally just had to pull my child out of summer school because they were taking them on field trips, teaching them about music, but not what they needed to learn to go to the next grade. So why am I allowing my child to go there and learn about Jimi Hendrix and whoever else? No, teach them what they need to learn. This is what's happening now. Nobody wants to be held accountable for nothing. I'm accountable for what my child does, and so is my child. If my child is wrong, I'm gonna let my child know they're wrong, and we're gonna fix it. If I can't do that because CPS and the police are telling me I can't, that's where the problem comes. Change the law. We are responsible for our own. I carried them for 9 months. That's mine.
Can I respond?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say this. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm finished.
I'm sorry.
I'm done.
Oh,
Go ahead,
no,
Truth.
somebody said they were waiting to
I think it
respond.
was Truth was waiting.
Okay. I'm really, really sorry, but this is so passionate for me. I don't mean it out of rudeness, but when she say the parents and that she's an educator, and you got to know that every educator, you got to know that there are parents out there that don't even exist. No mother in her right mind would want to see their child out there doing wrong. In her right mind. That is the key word, in her right mind. Are we not aware that majority of the children, I know here in Chicago, in the hoods, majority of these children are wards of the state. Their parent is the state. My brother was a ward of the state. I was a ward of the state. So when she say, why are we depending on politicians? Why not? They got elected in. That is what they're there for. When there is no parent, they should be able to provide a resource. They should be able to provide something. Why am I, a teenager, having to live with an old man when I'm a ward of the state? Why? They have no resources. They have absolutely no resources. The Democrats, there's absolutely nothing available. I'm sorry. This is what they say to us.
What resource did the Republicans put in there? What resource does the Republicans
I've never been under the leadership of a Republican.
So how can you sit there and say that it's all the Democrats when you don't even have any statistics of Republicans?
Yes, you gotta get
I'm speaking of me. I'm not speaking of nobody's statistics. I'm speaking of me and my impact. I have been under Democratic leadership. I have not been under no Republican leadership. So why should I?
Okay, but if you do the study, you will see. And like I just said before, that okay, Democrat-led states are bad, but the Republican-led states are even worse. So you sitting here blaming one group for what both groups are doing. It's in the statistics. Google it.
You got a good point.
Yeah,
Sweetheart,
I agree.
I'm looking at my life. I'm looking back at my life.
But it's not based off your life, though. It's not based off your life. You need proof. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's like I get it, but you're bashing. Look, I get it. You're bashing the Democrats, but you gotta give answers when you talk about Republicans do this. You gotta tell us what are they doing that's better. We want to know where you're coming from. All you're saying is Democrats this, Democrats that. You gotta give us a reason to believe it.
Okay, put it this way. Okay, well, put it this way. Put it this way. My vote is specifically to slap the Democrats in the face the same way they slap me in my face.
But the truth, my question is this. No, it doesn't make sense to me, the truth. And again, I know we're talking and everybody's been respectful, but I have to ask questions where they're due because that's just me. When you say you've never been under a Republican leader, right? And I just want to ask, how you're 30? You're 30. Maybe you haven't. You're 30? Because I'm not 30 anything. Okay. So then I feel like you can't say that factually, right? Because when I was in college, and I'm 36, I was born in 88. When I was in college, I recall, I think President Bush, the son, was in office at a point for about 4 years. And because the first time I was even 18 to vote was when Obama ran. So prior to that, I believe Bush was in office, and I believe I don't recall who was. He came after President Clinton. So that was a Republican president that we had in office for at least 4 years. And I think don't quote me. Ashley, let me know if I'm wrong. I think he ran 2 times because he
did. He did. He was in office when I was in college as well.
I remember that, and I remember that perfectly fine. I wasn't born in
right term. Okay. I mean, I'm just saying, in your time, you were born before that. We had Clinton before him. I'm sure we had a Republican before that. They kind of rotated. So in your time of growing up, there wasn't a Republican president in office.
I'm speaking of local leadership. I'm speaking of my local leadership.
Okay,
We're talking about presidential candidates. I don't get it.
And then that's the raising.
Okay, this is I was raised in Mississippi. I went from Mississippi to Arkansas to Kentucky. Baby, it is no better in these Republican states than it is in a Democratic state. No. Do you understand?
I'm not looking for it to be better. I'm looking for a fight. I'm not looking for
slap somebody in the face. Okay, so what can I ask? Can I ask what do you do for a living?
I'm ready to get down.
Can I ask what it is that you do for a living? What is your occupation? What is your occupation?
I am
because
a professional.
I mean, just to be honest, you know, as brown and indigenous women, we have been taught to hate each other naturally. So anytime we see anybody, any woman who we feel like has done better than we have, we are taught naturally to hate that woman. Could that be why you want to slap Kamala in the face?
Right.
Instead of you could have slapped Biden in the face last year, 4 years ago.
Why are you being violent? Why are you being violent?
Can I speak though? I never said anything about Kamala. I said my local leadership, the Democrats.
But we're not talking about the local leadership. We're talking about the presidency.
Local leadership.
I am.
We're talking about presidential candidates. That's
You
not
are
local.
talking about that. I am talking about my local leadership.
And what are you doing in your community? Are you going out in your community? Are you out there running for positions?
Non-stop.
Are you running for positions that you can get for?
You might want to check my record. I am
Then talk
heavily
about
involved.
your record. Talk about your
I'll
record.
talk about what I want to talk about.
Okay,
I'm
can I
talking
just
about
say
what
this?
I want to talk about as to why I am not voting Democrat. You
You
can't tell
sound
me
better. You just sound better for some reason.
Party responsible for
you're
local
right, I
government.
am.
Hello. This is co-captain Rose Goddess Queen here, and we are going to take a tap break to virtually up to 20K likes, and while I go ahead and communicate the kingdom guidelines with you guys. How are you guys doing on this fine Wednesday?
Great. Hey, Rose.
Hello. So here in the kingdom, we like to have community conversations, we like to have business tea, and we like to talk about elevating our brands and starting our brands. So right now we are having a community conversation / political conversation. So what we like to do up on the panel here is one at a time. We allow each individual to speak one at a time, and we don't interrupt. We allow them to finish speaking, and then we go off mute and we say what we got to say. So I will be running my mouth until we are at 20K likes. So it is Wednesday today, and let me tell you guys what I ate today, since y'all just want to